Hello everyone. Stress is good if you know how to manage it. Today I want to talk about how to transform stress into leadership. So we're going to touch a bit on the stress part, the transformation part, and I want to particularly focus on the leadership part because I think this is a very underestimated factor and a very important factor, foremost in these times that we're facing. Well, here we are. Do you know the number one fear probably most of you here share? It's probably also the number one fear most people fear. Any ideas? Spiders, snakes, I don't know. Height, flight, stuff like that? No. Failure, good one. It is actually speech anxiety, glossophobia. It is what's happening here, right? Sweating hands, the pulse racing, a bit of plush maybe. This is it. This is what most people on this planet and probably here fear. So, fight or flight. But there's actually two more. I heard about that as well. Freeze and foaming. 4 automated physical responses to stress. And I do believe that doesn't help us anymore these days. You know, life is complex with multiple aims, it's multi-layered, so many things we can do, so many tools, so many data. You know about that. Why do we stick to these 4 automatic fear responses? Why fear, actually? Let's take a simple example, maybe why it doesn't work. Let's take a bear, and let's run this through. You have a surprise encounter somewhere in the wild with a bear. Fight, good luck with that. Not so sure. Flight, outrun a bear? No, I wouldn't recommend that. They can reach speeds up to 50 kilometers an hour. So you must be Usain Bolt or so to outrun. I wouldn't recommend climbing either. Freeze, well, maybe you look so boring that the bear just loses interest and goes his way. I don't know, it's a risky strategy. Fawning, meaning like charming with a bear, being compliant, I wouldn't recommend it either. So what I'm trying to say, what is the takeaway here? It is an automatic response. You are the passenger. You are not in control of this action. You just freeze or you just run, but it's certainly not the smartest decision you can make. So how can you break through there? How can you get a grip on your automated fear responses? How can you change that? And how can you get back to what we can do as well as thinking, planning, preparation, devising a strategy, getting out of these situations? Well, with the bear, I would recommend before you go somewhere in the world, check out whether there are bears. Be prepared, stuff like that. This thinking starts ahead. And this is somehow leading to my first point. We have to overcome stress. We have to be able, even when we're shocked, frozen, we want to run, to overcome that in that very situation, to come up with better solutions. And this is the transformation part, if you like. I believe that controlling yourself means taking control of a situation. And when you can take control of a situation, you can also take the responsibility and take control about others. And that is the transformation towards leadership I want to talk about. First of all, let's imagine the situation again. How do we overcome this? I believe that, and I have a bit of a military background, you need to face your fears, you need to face danger, and you need to be able to understand this and then train yourself out of it. In the military we call that train as you fight, fight as you train. Also military saying is better sweat than blood. It means you can prepare. Yes, we all have the same reactions, but once you conceptualize it, once you think about it, once you plan, prepare, train. Train for different scenarios. What happens when a bear comes, a snake comes? You don't know. But you can conceptualize that, you can plan ahead, you can prepare, and you can train this. And by training, training and training, train again, train for different scenarios, train again. Challenge your scenarios, challenge your assumptions, train again. And all this helps you overcoming this deadlock, this fear lock in situations when just your body wants to, get this fear response, this I need to run, no, this is two little options. And this planning, preparation, training, challenging yourself part is a very crucial part for many complex situations we're facing also today. I want to give you an example. It's my journey, it's no scientific presentation I'm having here, but let's take leadership with 3 examples and to understand the 3 key elements which are important for me. The first element, and this is often overlooked, many concepts about leadership, styles, qualities, skills, you name it. But elements, let's talk elements. One important element for me is leading upward. Never heard of? Everyone thinks leadership is going down, like hierarchy. No. To me, leadership is also upwards and sideways. It's kind of an aura that surrounds you. Leading upwards. I give you a short example. That is like 20 years ago, I was a young lieutenant and I was tasked to be a platoon leader. That's about 40-45 soldiers in the German mountain infantry I was back then. So you're coming there just out of officer schools, 3 years of military experience, and you're facing all these non-commissioned officers. Now, trained guys know what they're doing, 10, 15 years in the military. Frightening. You're in command, you're responsible. You have to make the decisions. And you just have these 3 years of knowledge and maybe some qualities, but however, they have all the experience. So how does that work? That works quite well. If you're a bit humble, not too arrogant, if you learn and listen, but the point is leading upward. They advised me. They helped me all the way along making the best decisions. And it's also their key interest, because the best decisions for the platoon are also for them. The best decisions is for everyone the best decision. So they understand the responsibility of being that serving part, of being a good advisor, of bringing in your knowledge. A few years later, I was in Afghanistan as a captain back then, operations officer. And I don't want to talk about the war, the challenges of being in a war. I had another challenge. I was joining later. So the whole contingency, everyone was training before, we were well prepared. But this was a tight-knit club of people who were together. I was shipped in basically a bit later. And I was also a reserve officer back then. So I was not part of that brigade. They know each other sometimes for years. They're a tight-knit team. And you're just thrown in there. You have to do your job there. I felt like an outsider. I felt like I can't do that. But by understanding what my superiors were needing in order to make the best decisions, I could become relevant. I could prepare that the way they understood it and could take it away. Leading upwards, also how I experienced it, in order to get the best decisions done. Very important element. Second thing, taking responsibility, taking ownership. Just said that. Controlling the situation means also controlling the outcome. And for me, this element of ownership, that you're going full in, understand it completely, no hesitations, no side jobs next, go full in. This taking of responsibility, this taking of this commitment, and this taking of ownership is probably the most effective way of getting things done. Ali Moore just announced that I happen to be the first foreigner in a Dutch politics. There's a situation with the waterschap, it's a water authority, it's a regional governing body tasked with water tasks. And I happen to be in an executive position, so I was actually responsible for all the dikes and dunes in Zeeland here, among climate change and other big topics. However, I was the rookie. I was the new guy. It's not even my mother tongue. This highly specialized institution with all the rules, regulation, organization, people, codes. I knew nothing. Does that relate to anyone? You're just going for something and, you know, wow, I'm the rookie, I'm the newbie, I know nothing. The only way to somehow manage that is start listening, start learning, talk to everyone, go full in, study. I got a lot of complaints from my private life as well. I wasn't there anymore, I was going full in, but that was probably the only way of managing this task. Take full ownership, and you can control outcomes. Third part, mission command. Sounds very military, it is. Sometimes it's also referred to as decentralized command. German words is Auftragstaktik. Just saying that just because it was invented in Germany and Prussia back then. Karl von Clausewitz, 78 to 1831, he lived. Famous book was on war. Thing is, it took a while until this concept really was part of doctrines and tactics of Western military. But in the 20th century, almost every Western military adopted that tactics, doctrine, and style of leadership. Why? Because you win. Because it works. So what is it? What is mission command, decentralized command? It empowers people to take initiative and make decisions. It is the opposite of centralized command, where knowledge is just somewhere up there and the guys doing the job are kept stupid. You can see this explained in Ukraine, where small but highly motivated, flexible teams, not a lot of leadership, in a centralized way, but in a decentralized way. They often don't talk to each other, but they know what to do. They identify themselves with the job. They understand the commander's intent. We have to defend Ukraine. So this is why they are beating Russian forces, which are very often dominant by material, by numbers, but they just have this lack. They don't have this leadership style. They're just waiting for orders that probably never come. Because they never come, because the commander 100 kilometers further doesn't understand what's happening here. So this proves how this mission command, decentralized command of Auftragstaktik works. Let me wrap this up. What is the key takeaway here? The key takeaway is empowering people, mutual trust, sharing knowledge, sharing a common intent, and let everyone do what they do best. You can't micromanage all these moving parts in a war, the fog of war is referred to. And often so in society, with all these multi-layers, multi-dimensions in business and society, you name it. You don't know what's already happened. It's so fast, it's so complex. The only way getting a grip on that is decentralized command in teams. And those teams are winning teams. They're successful teams. Actually, I didn't want to speak about Ukraine or war. That is my point. Applying leadership to businesses, to teams, to societies, to every one of you, your families, among your friends, your jobs, and you can control situations. Leadership equals control, and controlling that means you can take care of the outcome. You can win. And that is the most important part. Let me wrap this up for you. My mission today, as I said, I want to talk about transformation of stress into leadership, but actually my secret mission is to inspire you better to become leaders. With me it worked, but my experience on my journey, every one of you have no journey, have own experience. And the good news is, it's universal. Fear, challenges, complex situations, you name it war, you name it business, you name it studies, doesn't matter. All of you can be leaders. Leading upwards, leading sidewards, leading laterally, doesn't matter. All of you can be leaders. Take ownership. And you can control outcomes for you and for others. And this is what I'm hoping to lead with you today. Thank you very much.